evening, hello and welcome. You're with the news today, your primetime destination. News, newsmakers, talking points, the big talking point. India versus NDA, master stroke or too clever by half? That's the question we will read. Also, who will lead the India coalition? Sitaram Yechuri will be among my special guests tonight, joining me on that big subject straight from Bengaluru. But first, as always, it's time for the 9 headlines at 9. The India name for the opposition alliance sparks off a controversy. BJP leader from Madhya Pradesh approaches the election commission. Nitish Kumar denies he was against the alliance name. This on a day when the left and the TMC find themselves at loggerheads in Bengal. CPIM says Mamta is a dictator. Day before Parliament monsoon session, Centre says it's ready for a debate on Manipur. Opposition wants Prime Minister to break his silence first amidst more reports of troubling videos coming in from the state. 10 BJP MLAs suspended, marshalled out of the Karnataka Assembly amidst protests against Congress deploying IS officers at an opposition meet. Former Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai among those detained. A Bengaluru terror module busted, 5 suspected terrorists arrested for plotting blasts across the city, bomb-making material, weapons recovered. At least 16 people are killed, several injured after a transformer explodes at the Namami Gange project site in Uttarakhand, Chamoli. SDRF joins rescue operations. Monsoon woes now rock Gujarat. Torrential rain leads to severe waterlogging in several districts like Surat and Gir Somnath. NDRF personnel on standby. Showdown over wrestlers Vinesh Phogat and Bajrang Punia's exemption from the Asian Games trial. Wrestler Antim Pongal moves the court, calls direct qualification unfair. Supreme Court grants relief to activist Teesta Setalvad, grants her regular bail in a case of alleged fabrication of evidence related to the 2002 Gujarat riots, strikes down the High Court order. India to take on Pakistan on September 2 in the Asia Cup. Both teams likely to meet again on the 10th of September in the Super 4 stage as schedule of the tournament gets officially announced. But our top story, a day after in Bengaluru, the opposition called its alliance India, INDIA, a BJP leader has moved the election commission protesting. The BJP leader claims it's a bid to exploit the name of our nation and a disrespect to country and its citizens. A petition has been filed by Ashutosh Dubey, the head of the social media legal department of the BJP in Madhya Pradesh, and he has moved the election commission over the name. Remember, the alliance announced this name yesterday. They say it's an acronym for India Inclusive Democratic Alliance is what they are calling it at the moment. India Nationalist Inclusive Developmental Alliance is what they are calling it at the moment. The BJP leader has moved the EC, claiming it's a bid to exploit the nation's name. Now, whether that works or not before the election commission, the truth is that this opposition grand alliance has a lot of challenges ahead. The name is one of them. Today, Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar insisted that he had no objections with the name, nor did he have personal ambitions after reports filtered that he was not happy with the name India and was upset about not being named convener. A more urgent problem, though, facing this alliance is the fact that 2 of its constituents, the CPIM and Trinamool Congress, who are rivals in West Bengal, have lashed out at each other. Will this alliance hold together, and will India be able to offer a challenge to the BJP-led alliance? It's our top story tonight.
The Indian National Developmental Inclusive Alliance, or India, an acronym for the opposition that resembles the country's name, was apparently the brainchild of Rahul Gandhi, picked up by Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee.
The fight is a fight to defend the idea of India. And that is why we came up with the name Indian National Developmental Inclusive Alliance, which also happens to stand for India.
इंडिया जीतेगा, भाजपा हारेगा. भारत जीतेगा, भाजपा हारेगा.
But were all leaders of India happy with the name? The absence of Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar, RJD leaders Lalu Yadav and Tejaswi Yadav at the press meet where the name was announced has set the tongues wagging.
एक तो उनको वो सम्मान नहीं मिला वहाँ बैठक में, उनको वो महत्व नहीं मिला. जो वहाँ पोस्टर बैनर लगे थे उसमें कहीं नीतीश कुमार का नामो निशान नहीं था, लालू यादव का कहीं नामो निशान नहीं था. उल्टे खिलाफ में ही कुछ पोस्टर ज़्यादा लगे हुए थे. तो इन्हीं सब कारणों से कहीं न कहीं नाराज होकर वो निकल आए.
Nitish Kumar on Wednesday denied reports of any divide.
बहुत अच्छा हो गया है और बहुत सर्वसम्मति से हुआ है और ठीक ढंग से हुआ है, तब इसलिए कोई दिक्कत नहीं. हमने जो सुझाव दे ही दिया है, बाकी सब चीज के लिए एकजुट करने के चक्कर में मेरा और कुछ नहीं, कि देश के हित में काम होना चाहिए. मेरा कोई पर्सनल चॉइस.
The India alliance has sparked furious reactions from the BJP. Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma changed his Twitter bio from India to Bharat, claiming India was the creation of the colonial era.
भारत और इंडिया की लड़ाई है. इंडिया का अंग्रेज के गुलामी का परंपरा को लेकर चल रहे हैं, वो इंडिया के साथ है. और स्वतंत्र भारत स्वाभिमान के साथ दुनिया के सामने डंका पीट रहा है, उसके साथ जो है वो इंडिया के साथ है.
The opposition's choice of name has sparked a debate on the internet and on the streets.
ये सब एक साथ आए हैं. पहली बार ऐसा हुआ है कि ये लोग एक साथ आके बैठ के जो है कुछ अगेंस्ट द प्रेजेंट गवर्नमेंट करना चाहते हैं, तो डेफिनेटली फर्क पड़ेगा इसमें.
It is basically not to criticize that name, brand name. That is what they want to have this name.
It will need a lot more to become effective as an opposition, and if it can do that, then brand India will have a huge success.
India has one more big issue to settle: leadership. With Mallikarjun Kharge telling opposition leaders the Congress is not hankering for the PM's post, TMC leaders are pitching Mamata Banerjee's name for the top job. The suggestion was promptly rejected by the left.
আমরা চাইবই তো আমাদের নেত্রী, আমাদের সিএম একজন বাঙালি যে হয়নি কখনো, তো আমরা তো চাইবো সেটা. মানে পরের স্টেপ অন্য কথা, কিন্তু চাওয়ার জায়গায় স্বপ্ন দেখাতে অসুবিধা নেই.
और टीएमसी की तानाशाही रुख जो बंगाल में दिखाई दिया है पूरे पंचायत के चुनाव में, जनवाद के ऊपर हमले करके आप जनवाद की रक्षक के नाम पर खड़े होंगे, उसकी बहुत कम क्रेडिबिलिटी है.
Does India work as a name for an electoral alliance? While no one has the answer to that, it is evident the opposition alliance India has many divisions in its ranks, and it will be a bumpy road ahead for them. Bureau Report, India Today.
Which leads me to my first talking point tonight. The name India, is it a master stroke, or is the opposition being too clever by half? Does a name make any difference to electoral fortunes? Is this a name without a narrative, and is that viable? Has India actually put the BJP on the back foot? Those are questions I will raise. Supriya Srinath is the Congress's national spokesperson, head of its social media and digital teams. Sanju Verma is the BJP's national spokesperson. And Harish Bijur is one of the country's leading brand experts. Join me from Bengaluru. First you, Supriya Srinath, India. Are you trying to be too clever by half, or is this, in your view, a bit of a master stroke? I mean, tomorrow if you lose an election, are we going to say India defeated?
There is never a contest when India is on the field, India ever loses, and which is why India will not lose. You pitch against anybody against India, and India always comes out victorious. So your question is hypothetical. Your question I pay no semblance to. India will win. And what is India? You started off your introduction by saying narrative. There is a very serious narrative in this country. That narrative is that Manipur has been burning for over 2 months now. There's a parliament session that's going to begin tomorrow. Will the Prime Minister and his government pretend that Manipur doesn't exist on the map of India, or is he going to take cognizance? Will the Prime Minister and his government admit that tomatoes are being sold for 300 rupees a kg, or will he not talk about it at all? The whole idea of this country, of India, is under attack. Who are we fighting for? We are fighting for the Constitution of India. We are fighting for the voice of people of India. We are fighting for the joblessness of our people. We are fighting for every right of an Indian citizen, and which is why our fight is rightly pitched for a fight for India. The reality is that Mr. Modi, his minions, his ministers, his spokesperson and his troll army doesn't understand what to do with it. So they're going to attack us. You attack us with all your might. I don't really care. But please don't stoop down to attacking India, because that's what you're doing.
So
That
is it,
makes
so
you
you, so it is,
that makes you
no, so therefore
anti-Indian.
when you've got,
Don't attack India.
no, when you say don't attack India, you're basically saying your alliance is identified with India, is it? Your alliance is identified with India. Is it an acronym, or are you identifying yourself completely with the country called India?
No, I don't understand your question. We represent people, we represent India, so obviously I represent a part of India. We represent the voices of people of India. We represent the voices of the tribals and the Dalits and the marginalized and the oppressed. We represent the voices of women. We represent the voices of youth. We represent the voices of middle class that's reeling under high prices. We represent people from Kutch to the northeast. We represent Manipur. And obviously we represent India, and there is an acronym for it, and it expands into, like you said, Indian National Development Inclusive Alliance, and I don't think anybody should have an issue with that. The point that I'm making is that Mr. Modi has been found floundering. I have never seen the Prime Minister as rattled as he has in the last 24 hours. Even in a government function, he spent 13.5 minutes spewing venom against India's opposition. That's all very good. But the reality is the way Modi's ministers have gone attacking India, the name itself tells you how rattled they are. India is the name of our country. Attack us. Don't take our country down with your venom, with your hatred, with your bigotry.
Okay.
Stop doing that. You
Rajdeep.
India and Skill India, Startup India, Digital India, 1 second Khelo India. Why was there no issue raised there? Were you not representing the country? Were you not talking about India when you said New India, and suddenly you have a problem with India as a name?
This
Stop
is not
it. It's
fair.
Shamelessness. It's brazen shamelessness on your part. It makes you anti-national.
Okay.
You are an anti-national party. Stop attacking India.
You know, you're an anti-national.
People will pay you in
It's
their
interesting.
pennies
It's
and pay you
interesting
bloody
how you're trying to put the boot on the other foot, because the BJP has often called its opponents anti-national. But Sanju Verma, is the Prime Minister rattled?
Rajdeep, I just humbly want half the time
No,
that the
please
Congress
please let her
spokesperson got.
complete now, Supriya. Yeah, go ahead, Sanju.
Rajdeep, I did not heckle this lady even once. Not once did I heckle her, and I expect the same courtesy.
Sure.
Which is a bit rich coming from her, but still nonetheless. Rajdeep, I want to say things on a lighter note. Just before coming on your debate, I went to your Twitter handle. And I was not surprised. You have 8.9 million followers on Twitter. I think the largest that any Indian journalist has. You have people who love you and people who hate you. And I'm not saying this by taking any digs at you. But if tomorrow I change Rajdeep Sardesai's name to Gaurav Sardesai or Rahul Sardesai or Arun Sardesai, will the core DNA of Rajdeep Sardesai change? Yes or no? The answer is no. Or for that matter, Sanju Verma. You change Sanju Verma to Sangeeta Verma or Sanjukta Verma or Suhana Verma. The core DNA of Sanju Verma will not change. Or for that matter, Supriya Srinath ko aap Kupriya Srinath ya Shri Priya Srinath banao, her core DNA will not change. So changing names, saying we represent India because the name of our alliance is that, is a very juvenile and puerile argument. Point number one. Point number two. राजनीति में राजदीप एक कहावत है, जो जीता वही सिकंदर. And anyone who denies this is the proverbial ostrich living in La La Land. And these are numbers that I've taken when you were on your show with your colleague Preeti Chaudhary a couple of hours back. What is the current status of the BJP-led NDA in Lok Sabha? 331 seats, the other side 140. What is the strength of the BJP-led NDA in Rajya Sabha? 134, the other side 93. Now, I have this to say. In any alliance, Rajdeep, the pivot or the fulcrum is very important, because That is going to decide how the alliance will pan out. Now, BJP standalone in 2019 got 303. The Congress, which is supposedly the largest party and the pivot on the other side, got 52 seats. 303 versus 52. We are almost 5.83 times larger than the largest party on the other side. This is my other point. So there is no comparison. As far as numbers go,
your final point,
beat the
please.
BJP.
Your
please,
final
please.
point.
Rajdeep, let me, give me at least 1 minute more. I heard Supriya's speech for 10 minutes. She did not make any sense. Now speaking of democracy khatre mein hai. Democracy khatre mein hai is a party who is giving us bhashan on democracy. A party like the Congress, forget about Indira Gandhi who imposed 21 months emergency in 1975, where more than 1 million people were forcibly arrested without a warrant and 10 million were forcibly sterilized. I'm giving you some numbers from the Parliament Library archives, which I got before your debate. Jawaharlal Nehru imposed Article 356 7 times, Rajiv Gandhi 6 times, Narasimha Rao 11 times, Manmohan Singh 10 times, Indira Gandhi 48 times. So in the period that the Congress ruled, Article 356 was used 83 times. And I've got the comparison for Narendra Modi and Atal Bihari Vajpayee. In his tenure, Atal Bihari Vajpayee imposed President's Rule 5 times, Narendra Modi 4 times, so total 9 times. 83 times Congress has imposed President's Rule, BJP 9 times, और ये कांग्रेस पार्टी की जुर्रत देखो कि हमको डेमोक्रेसी पर भाषण देती है. I will end with one line. I will end with one line. Indulge me.
Yes.
You believe your boss Arun Puri, right? He's your boss, right?
Yes.
I will read out a very interesting 4 lines from Arun Puri, and you should not interrupt me. This is from the February 6th, 2023 edition of your magazine India Today, and this is what Arun Puri writes. He wrote this after your Mood of the Nation poll. He says, Mood of the Nation has reflected the flux of India's polity, blah, blah, blah. And then he says, lot of things have changed. But over the past decade, one fact has stood invariable like a pole star, the persona of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the enormous public credibility it carries. Modi has emerged as a unique helmsman and leader figure of 21st century India, seemingly untouched by storm, undimmed by time, and immune to competition. This is Arun Puri of India Today in the February 2023 edition.
I have allowed you uninterrupted time for 2.5 minutes. Now, do not complain again that you're always intervened. You have been allowed now silence.
Can I please come in?
Yeah, before you come in, I just want Harish Bijuru listening, because Harish Bijur, I'll allow you, Supriya, to respond. Harish Bijur, we are looking at branding here. Politics is a lot, particularly in this age of multimedia, about branding, about marketing. You've got the opposition which has got the acronym India. Do you think it's a master stroke, or are they being too clever by half?
Okay, Rajdeep, I hope my comments are going to be seen with the neutrality it deserves to be seen with. I'm really speaking branding. And I'm saying that, is it a master stroke? Well, it certainly is a stroke. Whether it's a master stroke or not, only time will tell. It is a stroke because a name is what a name does. And if you really look at the way in which India is trending, it tells a story to say that if at worst, this coalition has actually created a bit of a hangama with a name. So in terms of attention, in terms of interest, in terms of the desire to understand what's happening, it's perked that up. But then what's in a name? I mean, going back to Shakespeare, I think there's plenty for sure, at least in the way and manner in which this has been unveiled. I think a name is a skin, and I think that skin has been put together very well initially by this coalition of 26 parties. But the body needs to fall into part, the individual body parts need to fall into part, and most importantly, the interstitium, which keeps these body parts together, needs to be knitted together. So, name is one, leadership is another. Possibly, we'll see each one of it being cobbled together slowly. Okay, but so as a name, I think it's created enough of a hangama.
Okay, so it's a creative name. There has been disruptionist, created a hangama. But the name is a small part. You're going to have to fit in nuts and bolts, Supriya, Srinath. What's in a name? is this, as I said at the outset, an attempt to create a disruption, to challenge the BJP over their seemingly monopoly over India first? Is that the aim? Was that the real goal, to somehow say, look, you don't have a monopoly over the India name? And I'll tell you why. Because I'm going to play in a moment what the Prime Minister did a few years ago when he was on the campaign trail. Just listen in to Prime Minister Modi when he was at a speech. Okay, we'll come to that in a moment, but Supriya Srinath, respond.
I have two things to add to this debate, and I add them very fearlessly. I am not going to spoil people's names here. Let's keep this debate dignified. Difficult to expect the BJP to do, but let's try and make an attempt. Not definitely from this spokesperson. But the reality is that the Prime Minister till 2 months back was thumping his chest and saying, ek akela, ek akela, ek akela. उस एक अकेले को 38 की जरूरत पड़ गई. 2 और ऐड कर लीजिए, अलीबाबा बन जाइएगा और उनकी टीम बन जाइएगा. That's the reality. The reality is that when the Prime Minister was standing and pleading before the NDA allies, 38 of them who he had collected, 24 of them have 0 MPs. A big 0 MPs. 7 of them have 1 MP each. So the Prime Minister is standing before those allies and invoking Atal Bihari Vajpayee and Advani ji. Very good. You finally remember the stalwarts on whose shoulders you came here, who you have put in mental coma in Margdarshak Mandal. But the reality is that the Prime Minister stands there and says 3 very interesting things. I don't know if you missed them. The first thing he tells them is that in my last 9 years, I may have been busy and you may have not found an appointment with me. I seek an apology. He then says, because of my SPG, sometimes you may have not found a seat which you rightly deserved and you were forced to sit in the crowd. I apologize for this. And then he says, sometimes your name may have not been printed on a card and I apologize for this. These are not signs of somebody who's ek akela sab par bhari. These are signs of a rattled, baffled Prime Minister. The reality, Rajdeep, is that Bharat ko humne joda, Bharat jodo yatra karke और इंडिया को जिताएंगे. असलियत यह है कि जुड़ेगा भारत और जीतेगा इंडिया. उससे इनके होश फाख्ता है. इनके होश राजदीप.
Okay, जुड़ेगा भारत.
If I am speaking and you are continuously heckling and intervening, जुड़ेगा भारत और जीतेगा इंडिया. और इसी से ये घबराते हैं. इनके पास कोई चारा बचा नहीं है.
Okay, ma'am, you made your point. No, ma'am, I have some regard for my age. I find it difficult to deal with it isn't easy to give you all equal time. Let me try to do that though. That, Sanju Verma, there is some truth in saying that the Prime Minister until now has believed he has the mastery on these acronyms. Startup India, Stand Up India, New India, Amrit, he's always looking for something. Now, when he does it, it's okay. When the opposition does it, you seem to have a problem. I'll just play that. No, just listen to what the Prime Minister said at a public gathering and then I want you to respond. Please play what Mr. Modi had said then.
दल के लिए नहीं, देश के लिए वोट करिए. और हम कहना चाहते हैं, वोट फॉर इंडिया. वोट फॉर इंडिया. भाइयों बहनों, मैं बोलता हूं, आप पीछे बोलना वोट फॉर इंडिया. बोलेंगे? आपको बोलना है वोट फॉर इंडिया. बोलेंगे? वंशवाद से मुक्ति के लिए वोट फॉर इंडिया.
You want to respond, Sanju Verma? The India word is not a BJP monopoly.
Okay, I'll respond, Rajdeep. I'm glad you played that out. In fact, I have to tell you, I have a great memory and most of Prime Minister's speeches, I know them by heart. I will say this, I don't want to get into this puerile debate about India versus Bharat because I genuinely believe, and I say this as the national spokesperson of the largest political organization globally. Article 1 of the Constitution starts with the phrase, India, that is Bharat. So, I think we look at India and Bharat synonymously. I'm not getting into the semantics and the divisive debate around it, but I will say this. Time and again, the other panelists spoke about Modi ji was pleading with 38 allies, please come and join us, blah, blah, blah. तो मैं एक बात कहना चाहती हूँ, बड़े बेआबरू होकर तेरे कूंचे से हम निकले, बड़े बेआबरू होकर तेरे कूंचे से हम निकले, बहुत मेरे अरमान निकले, लेकिन फिर भी कुछ कम निकले. A party that has been abusing the Prime Minister was reduced to 44 seats in 2014, and I'm talking the great Mahashay, मोहब्बत की दुकान के पहरेदार राहुल गांधी, and in 2019 his मोहब्बत की दुकान garnered seats. So first look at your own backyard. Without numbers, you are a big zero. And that is where you will be in 2024. But give me 30 seconds. Give me 30 seconds.
I'm counting.
I will tell you why we are super confident. I will tell you why we are super confident. I think the reliability factor in any alliance is very important. Be it the I.K. Gujral government, be it the H.D. Devegowda government, be it the Chandrasekhar government, or for that matter, the fact that Rajiv Gandhi and V.P. Singh had a very public spat and fallout. History is a testimony to the fact that Congress has always left its alliance partners high and dry. And madam, since you talk about Manipur in 15 seconds, Rajdeep, 15 seconds, in Karnataka, in the last 15 days only, Rajdeep, 15 seconds, a minor gang rape, a cop killed by sand mafia, a RTI activist killed in police custody, two RTI two toll booth operators, pardon me, shot at point blank range, and the electricity minister involved in a bribe, accepting 10 crore for promotion, 10 crore for transfer.
Producer, ma'am, you know, I have to bring your voice down because the fact, you see, because you want that, you know, the fact is, let's not compare what's happened in Manipur where 130 people have died. We are now getting reports of a possible gang rape that's taken place there. Let's not compare it. Violence is violence of a kind that needs to be condemned. And therefore, you know, the worst thing we can do is engage in this kind of whataboutery over violence. So let's not do that. Let's not normalize violence of any kind. That's the reality, ma'am, on the ground. I just want to bring in Harish Bijur for a final word, because Harish Bijur, if you were advising both these alliances, one is called NDA, one is called India, what's the one piece of advice you would give each as we go up to 2024, probably from a branding perspective?
Well, to the India coalition, I would say that a name alone isn't important. A name is but a skin put together, the body and the rest of it that needs to come by. As far as the BJP and the NDA side of it, I would say at the end of the day, I think it's work that counts. It possibly is very, very important to showcase reality. And I think importantly, this is going to emerge to be a Bharat versus India debate. But naughtily, I would say the Congress and the rest of the parties have actually got the nomenclature right, because, you know, naughtily speaking, India is a unity in diversity. And if you really look at the coalition of 26 parties as well, it looks like a lot of diversity. And if the attempt is to bring unity.
Second point.
I will give both of you 20 seconds each. I have a Sitaram Yechuri interview coming up. I will give you 20 seconds each. First, you, Supriya Srinath, is this India versus Bharat? Are you ready for the BJP to make it India versus Bharat? That they are authentic, you are a coalition of diverse interests, but do not have anything common.
No, absolutely not. This is not India versus Bharat. Only somebody who doesn't understand either India or the sense of Bharat will say something like this. But I'm glad that something was said here. It looks like Hemanta Biswa Sarma, your ministers are being berated because they are the ones who are diluting this debate to India versus Bharat. Tell them to shut up and listen to the Prime Minister who says vote for India. Also, one more thing.
No, please bring down Sanju's voice.
Why are you changing names of cities like Gurgaon? Why are you changing names of cities like Allahabad and Gurgaon? Why are you changing Rajpath? Since there's nothing in a name, there is nothing in. Why are you changing names of cities in this country? Has anything changed in Prayagraj because its name has been changed, or in Faizabad, or for that matter in Gurgaon or Rajpath? The reality is that you want to hog the limelight when you do things, but you have been stepped, and you have been stepped in your saddles with India. You do not know how to react. And this is your frustration speaking. But guess what? A fight against India is no contest at all. India alone always wins. And history will be repeated one more time.
Okay, I will give 30 seconds to Sanju Verma in the interest of failure. Your time starts now. Are you frustrated?
Rajdeep, I will again start with the kahavat. You know, there is a famous saying, हमें मालूम है जन्नत की हकीकत क्या है. हमें मालूम है जन्नत की हकीकत क्या है, लेकिन दिल को खुश करने के लिए गालिब ये ख्याल अच्छा है. The entire opposition is living in La La Land. They are united by one thing, their visceral hatred for Narendra Modi, and they are divided by one thing also. Their
Who are the
ministerial
38
ambitions.
people you have collected
ask
together?
them, shut
Do you
up
know
now.
their
I did not
identities?
heckle you. Shut up.
No, don't please.
Galiwali madam, shut up.
No, ma'am, you cannot do this. No, shut up
No,
and all is
so
not
let me-
acceptable. This
I
must
did not
stop.
heckle her.
No, you cannot
I
use
did
word
not
like
heckle
shut
her.
up. Sorry. Please
Let
apologize
me
for
complete.
that. No
Let
one
me
can use
complete.
this word shut up. She's
Let me complete.
She's listening to you. Supriya's
Okay.
voice down. You have 20
Yes,
seconds left.
thank you.
You have 20
Thank
seconds
you.
left. 20, I'm counting quickly.
Rajdeep, I just have this to say. The road to Delhi comes via Lucknow. BJP got 73 seats in Uttar Pradesh Lok Sabha 2014. From Uttar Pradesh in 2019, out of 80 seats, we got 62. Congress got 2 seats in Lok Sabha 2014 from Uttar Pradesh. 1 seat only in Raebareli from 2019 from Uttar Pradesh. Rahul Gandhi lost his bastion Amethi. Without Uttar Pradesh, you cannot win
Okay,
Delhi.
so you believe you are
Without
giving us the
Uttar Pradesh, you
numbers.
cannot
You believe
win
that,
Delhi.
okay, producer, you believe the numbers go against the Congress, that branding is not enough. The reality is the numbers are against them. Supriya Shrinet believes that the BJP at the moment is rattled and frustrated with the use of the name India. Either way, at least we have an interesting debate over a name. Thank you all very much for joining me on the news today. Okay, let's turn from that to what is the real concern that maybe this opposition will have. How do you unite parties that have differences on the ground? For example, in Bengal, CPIM and TMC are once again at loggerheads. The TMC even projecting Mamta as a potential PM face, while the CPIM says there will be no seat sharing. Listen into the two sides.
পশ্চিমবঙ্গে হিংসা নয়, এই হিংসাটা হচ্ছে ঠিক যে রাজ্যে সিপিএম ক্ষমতায় ছিল। দেখা যাবে ত্রিপুরায় গন্ডগোল আছে, আমাদের রাজ্যে গন্ডগোল আছে এবং কেরালায় গন্ডগোল আছে। ঠিক সেই তিনটে রাজ্যেই আরে আম গাছের বীজ পুঁতলে আম হবে, জাম গাছের বীজ পুঁতলে জাম হবে, আর বিষ গাছের বীজ পুঁতলে বিষ হবে। তারাই এই রাজ্যেতে যে অশান্তি জন্ম দিয়ে গেছে, যে সন্ত্রাস জন্ম দিয়ে গেছে।
नेशनल सिचुएशन अलग है, इसमें कोई शक नहीं है, लेकिन इसमें शक है ममता बनर्जी कितना दिन रहेंगे। ममता बनर्जी को अपोजिशन यूनिटी में रहना बहुत मुश्किल की बात है, क्योंकि ममता बनर्जी वो बीजेपी का नेचुरल अलाई है। बंगाल का पॉलिटिक्स का ये जो सिचुएशन अभी आया है, एंटी ममता वेव, इससे बचने के लिए वो अपने थोड़ा सा इमेज बिल्डअप की कोशिश में है।
আমরা চাইবই তো, আমাদের নেত্রী, আমাদের সিএম একজন বাঙালি যে হয়নি কখনো, তো আমরা তো চাইবো সেটা। মানে পরের স্টেপ অন্য কথা, কিন্তু চাওয়ার জায়গায় স্বপ্ন দেখাতে অসুবিধা নেই।
और टीएमसी की तानाशाही रुख जो बंगाल में दिखाई दिया है पूरे पंचायत के चुनाव में, जनवाद के ऊपर हमले करके आप जनवाद की रक्षक के नाम पर खड़े होंगे, उसकी बहुत कम क्रेडिबिलिटी है।
And joining me now is one of my newsmakers tonight. I'm joined by the CPIM General Secretary Sitaram Yechuri, who was present at that opposition meeting in Bengaluru yesterday. Appreciate your joining us, Mr. Yechuri. Let's start first with what's become a bit of a controversy, the name India. Is it true that you were among those who had reservations about this name? There were several others also who were not completely convinced about using the name India for this alliance?
No, not really reservations. There was a lot of discussion over what should happen. I mean, in fact, I had suggested that we should call ourselves We for India. That was agreed upon, saying it's a very good slogan, but then why don't we expand India? And then that expansion process, everybody contributed, so it became Indian National Developmental and Inclusive Alliance. And over the various other names, I mean, options were suggested for each alphabet in India. But finally, this is what the consensus was.
So you wanted the name We for India. The BJP, at least a section of the BJP, seems to suggest that this is an attempt by this opposition coalition to hijack the name India. That you shouldn't be taking the name of a country. You should be, a political party should be careful when they do that. How do you respond? Do you believe this acronym is simply clever branding by the opposition?
Well, what is the BJP's election symbol? Is it the national flower? Is that appropriate? What are they complaining about?
They seem to suggest that this alliance is misusing the name India. You're misusing the name India. You should be careful when you use the name of a country as your acronym.
It's as good as to say, we are saying it's INDIA. That is the abbreviation.
Okay.
And if they are using lotus as the election symbol, is this misusing the Indian national flower?
Okay, so
is it tantamount to that?
Okay, so you're saying the BJP should look at its own symbol. Let's turn though to the meat of what many believe is the major challenge for you. One thing to put out a name, but your real nuts and bolts will include elements like, for example, seat sharing. It seems that you've already made it very clear there will be no seat sharing alliance with the Trinamool Congress in Bengal. I mean, you all are having supper and dining out together at the West End Hotel in Bengaluru, and you all are in a bloody fight in Kolkata. Make sense of this for us. What will your cadres think that Sitaram Yechuri is on the same dinner table with Mamata Banerjee?
Can I answer?
Yes, please.
Bengaluru is far away from Calcutta. Next door is Kerala. And in Kerala, the CPM and the Congress are lodged in a direct flight. It's between the two of us. And that's why the BJP doesn't get even a single MLA elected. So does it mean that one of us should stop fighting in Kerala? Will the Congress stop fighting us in Kerala? What logic is this? I mean, these are elections at the state level. At the state level, the actual nitty-gritties and the nuts and bolts, like you have said, that will have to be worked out. That's a process that has begun.
No, Mr. Yechuri, let me just say that you've just gone through a very fractious, bitter, bloody panchayat poll in Bengal, where you and the Trinamool have been at each other's throats, literally. Now you go to Bengaluru and you decide you're all part of one alliance. Make sense of that for us. When you say these are state issues, how do you reconcile that?
Please understand one thing, Rajdeep. Please understand one thing. Don't go into a hyperbole. This is an understanding amongst the secular-minded parties that BJP has to be kept away from controlling the reins of government and state power. This is the coming together of these parties. And don't get onto a hyperbole about sitting and having supper here and then fighting there. It will be fought there. The ground level realities in various states are different. It is different in Kerala, it is different in Bengal, and those differences will be ironed out by the people in these elections. And there's nothing new about it. I'm sure you are old enough to recollect, Rajdeep, 2004. 61 left MPs were elected to the Lok Sabha. 57 of them came defeating the Congress candidate. And then we supported the Manmohan Singh government.
But in
the interest of the country.
No, but may I remind you, Mr. Yechuri, that was a post-poll alliance. Now you're planning on a pre-poll alliance, which you're now calling an understanding. I want clarity. You're saying you will fight the Trinamool Congress in Bengal. You will fight the Trinamool Congress in Bengal and then align with them post-election. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Whatever happens post-election, let us see, but at the ground level. And you are forgetting. You're forgetting in 2004 also there was understandings and we fought the elections in various states. And the whole issue right now is what is the major priority before the country. That is to safeguard the secular democratic character of the Indian Republic. For that it is essential that the BJP must be separated from controlling the reins of government and state power. That is the task for which all these parties have come together. And that is all it's about. What alliances will be worked out at the state level.
Right.
There won't be any alliances at the All India level.
So,
All India level alliances will be post-election only.
Okay, you're making an important point.
This will be alliances at the state level, and each state has its own concrete reality is different.
Okay, so you're saying that you will fight on your own, you will not fight at the state level with the Trinamool Congress, any understanding will be post-poll. But you see, you're essentially saying what Narendra Modi is saying is the problem with your alliance. He says this alliance is about self-preservation, this alliance is about Modi Hatao, and he's talking about Desh Badao, that you all have a single point agenda, remove Mr. Modi at all costs. It's a negative alliance.
Are you acting a proxy for Mr. Modi now?
I'm telling you what he said
no,
yesterday.
You answer me the question. After 9 years, why? No. After 9 years, why was the NDA resurrected? Where is that arrogance saying that I have got the absolute authority and majority in the mandate of the people as a single, with the full majority? Why scramble together suddenly on the same day? 38 parties put together? It doesn't require much intelligence to understand why that was done, except a panic reaction. Whatever they may say, the fact of the matter is that today, in defense of the secular democratic character of the Indian Republic, these forces have all come together with that determination that this has to be safeguarded.
But
that means BJP has to be kept out of the government and
so is it therefore a negative alliance? What is the positive narrative that this alliance is going to offer beyond, as I said, defeating Mr. Modi at all costs?
Wait. You will wait and see. Defeating at Modi at all costs was the point. Where have they? Now tell me the number of states they have with them. How many states does the non-BJP government have? So what is this great hoo-ha that you are making about just because he said, and therefore you have to repeat it? The fact of the matter is that they, in a scramble, put together 38 parties. That in itself is a betrayal of the fact that they are seeing the writing on the wall.
Who will be the leader of your coalition is another question. Who will lead India? Who will lead your team India? Will you have a convener or a leader who will be projected as your prime ministerial face, Mr. Yechuri?
May I take you back 20 years ago when you asked me the same question vis-a-vis Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee? And I told you the leader will emerge post-election, and you had a leader. And for 10 years, Dr. Manmohan Singh served as the Prime Minister of India. Remember?
No, I remember, so Mr. Yechuri, very clearly, but you seem to be drawing a parallel, therefore, between 2024 and 2004. There will be those who will say that Narendra Modi is not Atal Bihari Vajpayee. He is not going to give you the same space. He, in fact, is saying not just that it is about Modi Hatao, he is saying this is a coalition of the corrupt and of Parivarvad. These are his two other planks. How are you going to combat him?
Yeah, I know. What is there to combat? They have been saying this for donkey's years. Is this anything new from the BJP? They have been saying this and they keep losing the elections in the states. What happened in Karnataka? What happened in Himachal? They said all these things, what you are saying.
So you will not choose a leader pre-alliance. You will not
see the ground reality.
So you're saying no prime ministerial face. Am I correct? You're not making this a presidential context. Modi versus who? You're staying away from.
India is a parliamentary democracy. People elect their members of parliament. They don't elect the prime minister. The members of parliament who have a majority elect their leader who becomes the prime minister. We follow that system.
I just want to understand though, Mr. Yechuri, that you're saying that you will have a common minimum program, you will have an agenda that you will offer in the months ahead. Am I correct? It's not just now limited to a name. There will be an agenda that you will offer the people which will tell us what this coalition is about, or will that also happen only post-poll? Like 2004?
Yes, there will be an agenda with which we will go to the people. What needs to be done? Each one of us will have our own manifestos, and there will also be a common agenda, maybe. Now that will be worked out, but a common minimum program is always worked out when the government is formed. Who will implement that program? The government will do. That's why the common minimum program comes into the picture post-government formation.
Okay.
Now will be a common agenda.
Am I to understand that this common agenda, Mr. Yechury, will be driven by the Congress? The Congress is now the pivot of your alliance. Sonia Gandhi was there at this meeting hosted by the Congress. Is the Congress the pivot around which all of you are coming together, including the left?
Last meeting was hosted by the JDU and the Bihar Chief Minister, Mr. Nitish Kumar. This was hosted by the Congress in Bengaluru. The next meeting is going to be hosted by the Maharashtra Vikas Aghadi in Bombay. So that is how this cooperation between all these parties goes on.
Okay, so there is no central pivot in that sense. You're saying to your alliance that you will bring everyone together, since you have the name. You could have more allies possibly joining you in the months ahead. Am I correct?
Yes. I mean, last time there were 16. Bengaluru had 26. And now let us see by the time we go to Mumbai.
Okay, so you're
how many parties will be there?
You're open to other allies joining us. Anyone that you are tapping at the moment? Any specifics? Mayawati, TRS, YSR, CP, TDP? Anyone you're specifically tapping?
I'm not speculating. Leaving it to the good sense of all the other parties that in the defense of the secular democratic character of the Indian Republic, we should get together.
I'm going to ask you one final question. You were reportedly, some reports suggest, on the same table as Mamata Banerjee. What did the two of you speak about? You see, this is the question. When those optics come out, that, she's now back in Kolkata, there your local leaders are saying we will fight Mamata Banerjee, she's as bad as Narendra Modi, and you're on the same table with her in Bengaluru. They say that she's no different to Mr. Modi. So what did you say? Speak about.
Okay, you're not at a public meeting, Mr. Rajdeep.
Sure.
Please, I mean, you asked the question. Don't go on and on.
Yes.
Number one, I was not sitting at the same table as Mamata ji.
Oh, I see.
On my table was Sonia Gandhi ji, Mr. Siddaramaiah, Mr. Lalu Prasad Yadav, Mehbooba Mufti, Nitish Kumar and myself. These were the 6 on the table. So I don't know what reports you've got and what are you talking about.
But I heard you had a good conversation with her.
Again, I don't know who's been telling you, because she had a complaint about what my statement was. And I said, I stick to my statement, that's it.
What was the statement, Mr. Yechury?
You said it first, that we'll fight separate, I mean, in Bengal, we'll fight the Trinamool Congress along with Congress and other secular forces. You yourself said it, Mr. Rajdeep.
Right. So she would like you to give her primacy in Bengal. Fair enough, Mr. Yechury. From what you are saying, and you can correct me if I am wrong, you will fight the Congress in Kerala, you will fight Mamata Banerjee in Bengal at state level, and you will hope to reach an understanding post-poll. You will provide a common agenda before the elections. Am I broadly correct?
Right. Correct.
Okay. Sitaram Yechury, we will wait and see how your dialogue goes forward, where you take Team India. You've also said there is no captain of Team India at the moment. Am I right? No captain, but there could be a convener.
Again, the terminology of the team is what you have given. We are saying that this is a combination of patriotic forces in defense of India's secular democratic character of our republic.
Okay. We'll wait and see whether the voters whether the voters buy into what you've just told me. But I appreciate you joining us and clearing our doubts, including the fact whether you shared a dinner table with Mamata Banerjee or not. Thank you very much for joining me, Sitaram Yechury, on the show tonight. Thank you.
Welcome.
To the latest update over the monsoons. After wreaking havoc in the Himalayan states, monsoon now causing mayhem in western India. While parts of Maharashtra are reeling under heavy downpours, several parts of the state, including Mumbai and Navi Mumbai, have also experienced the rainfall. A red alert sounded now for the Konkan, Raigad and Palghar districts. Also, Gujarat is witnessing heavy flooding due to the incessant rainfall, especially Gir Somnath district and Surat. Gir receiving the highest rainfall of 345 mm in just 14 hours since 6 a.m. on Tuesday. It brings us to our special Get Real India story. The rising levels of the Ganga now hitting daily life in Uttarakhand. All the focus has been on Himachal in recent days. Here, shops and markets are shut. Lack of electricity supply, food supply is causing distress as well. Milan Sharma with tonight's ground report.
The Ganga is flowing close to the danger mark in Haridwar. As the water level rises, the mighty river is creating its own path, inundating factories, mills and fields. Shops and markets are flooded. Many shops remain shut due to heavy waterlogging. Haridwar and Laksar areas have received heavy rainfall in the last 24 hours.
दुकान में पानी था, छाती तक पानी था दुकान पे, ऊपर तक नाव का पानी था, पूरी गाड़ी डूबी पड़ी थी। ये 4 दिन यहाँ पर लाइट नहीं थी।
अच्छा,
बंद था, पूरा टावर डूबा पड़ा था। ये
4 दिन बिजली नहीं थी।
हाँ जी, बिजली नहीं थी यहाँ पर।
जो हमारी जमीन है वो जमीन यहाँ पर भी आती है, बट जमीन का कुछ नहीं बचा है। जितनी फसल थी सारी बर्बाद हो चुकी है, और जो घरों का हाल रहने लायक अब रहा नहीं है कि उस घर में बंदा वापस रह सकता है। पर पर्सन एक हाउस का आप ये मान लीजिए कि 2-3 लाख नुकसान आराम से है।
Farmers in Haridwar are badly hit. Official estimates say more than 7,000 acres of fields are underwater.
इस बारी जो पानी आया है बाढ़ का, पहले भी बाढ़ का पानी आता था।
हाँ, पहले बहुत कम आता है, ऐसा नहीं आया था।
तो अभी बहुत ज्यादा है।
हाँ, ज्यादा है। इसमें तो आप देख लो, चारों तरफ घूम कर फिर के देखो कैसे कैसे हालत हो रही है। और जिन खेत में पानी रुक जाएगा और वो फिर गर्म होगा, जो बच भी रही फसल वो भी मारी जाएगी।
Farmers claim the Ganga has carried with it red silt that is destroying crops.
इस बार मैडम ये परेशानी हो रही है कि पहले जो बाढ़ का पानी आता था वो जब उतर जाता था तो फसल हमारी जो गन्ने की फसल थी उस पर कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता था, लेकिन इस बार कुछ इस तरह का केमिकल इस पानी में आया है। आप देखिए पीछे मेरे, ये देखिए इस फसल को, ये पूरा रेड होकर और सूख गई, फसल डैमेज हो गई 100 की 100%।
If more water flows from the Srinagar dam and is released, it will enter the Ganga barrage flowing downstream from here. And of course, as the water level rises, it will result in life falling in disarray in low-lying areas of Haridwar region, resulting in problems in the aftermath of the flooding situation in the state. With Amit Badwar, Milan Sharma from Uttarakhand, Haridwar, India Today.
Monsoon woes across the country. We hope you stay well, stay safe. Good night, Shubh Ratri, Jai Hind, Namaskar.